You've probably heard it time and time again. Drinking water first thing in the morning is one of the healthiest habits you can adopt. And in many ways, that's absolutely true. Morning hydration plays a vital role in reawakening your body's internal systems after a night of rest. But here's something most people don't talk about. How you hydrate in the morning matters, just as much as the fact that you're doing it. Yes, it's just water. But as we get older, even something as simple as drinking water needs to be done with more care and thought. The routines that felt fine in your 30s or 40s may not sit as well in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your body has changed. You've lived decades, and your heart, kidneys, digestion, and metabolism have all been working hard for you every step of the way. That means they need a little extra kindness now. When you wake up in the morning, your body is transitioning from a deep, healing state. Your hormone levels are shifting. Your blood pressure is adjusting. Your digestive system is just beginning to stir. So if you hit your system with the wrong kind of stimulus too quickly, even something as seemingly harmless as water, it can actually cause more harm than good. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 common mistakes people often make when drinking water first thing in the morning. Most people have no idea they're making them, and that includes mistake number 5, which we'll cover in just a moment. But before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from today? Leave a comment below with your city or country. I always enjoy seeing where everyone's watching from. It creates a sense of connection, no matter how far apart we may be. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more wellness tips like these. You really don't want to miss what's coming next. Mistake number 1. Drinking ice-cold water on an empty stomach. Let me ask you something. Have you ever taken a big sip of cold water first thing in the morning and felt your stomach cramp up, or maybe noticed a weird chill travel down your chest? Some people even get lightheaded or feel a sudden headache after drinking cold water in the morning, but they usually brush it off, never realizing what's really happening. The truth is, drinking ice-cold water right after waking up, especially on an empty stomach, can be a shock to your system. Why? Because during sleep, your body is in a calm, restorative state. Your organs slow down, your digestion quiets, and your blood vessels gently constrict. When you wake up, your body is still in the process of warming up, so hitting it with freezing cold water is like throwing a bucket of ice on an engine that hasn't had time to start running yet. It triggers a stress response, tightening your stomach muscles, constricting your blood vessels even more, and putting your system on high alert. For younger folks, this might not be such a big deal. In fact, it might even feel refreshing. But as we age, our metabolism slows down, our circulation becomes more sensitive, and our internal temperature regulation weakens. So what used to feel invigorating can now feel jarring, or even downright uncomfortable. Let me tell you about someone named Leaner. She's 76, quick-witted, and full of life. For years, she swore by her glass of cold water straight from the fridge as her wake-up ritual. It helped clear her throat and made her feel alert. But recently, she started noticing changes. Her hands would feel unusually cold, her stomach felt tight, and her digestion seemed sluggish throughout the morning. It wasn't until her doctor gently suggested switching to room temperature water that things began to shift. Within a week of making the change, Eleanor noticed a smoother, more pleasant start to her mornings. Her stomach no longer cramped, her hands stayed warm, and her energy felt more balanced. That tiny change, letting the water sit out for a bit or using slightly warm water, made a huge difference. So what's the takeaway? Our bodies deserve gentleness. After all the years they've carried us, it's only fair to treat them with a little more care. That starts with how we hydrate each morning. Instead of jolting your system with ice water, consider trying room temperature or lukewarm water for a few days. Pay attention to how your body feels. You might be surprised at how much more relaxed and energized your mornings become. Mistake number 2, drinking water too fast or in big gulps. We've all been there. You wake up, your mouth feels dry, and the first thing you want to do is grab that glass of water and just chug it down. It feels satisfying, like you're checking off a healthy habit right away. But here's the truth. Drinking water too quickly, especially in the first few minutes after waking, can actually do more harm than good. You see, the moment we wake up, our bodies are still in transition. Your heart rate is slowly climbing back to its daytime rhythm. Your blood pressure is rebalancing itself. Your digestive system? It's still half asleep. Everything inside you is shifting gears, preparing to start the day. And it needs a little time to do that properly. Now imagine this. Right in the middle of that delicate adjustment period, you pour a full glass of water down your throat in seconds. What happens? That sudden rush of fluid can overwhelm your system. Your stomach may expand too quickly, leading to discomfort, bloating, or even mild nausea. Some people feel dizzy, lightheaded, or notice a flutter in their chest. And often they can't figure out why. But it's not the water that's the problem. It's the speed at which we're drinking it. When you gulp water too fast, your body doesn't have time to absorb and process it properly. Your kidneys are suddenly pushed to work harder to regulate fluid levels. Your electrolyte balance can shift abruptly. For older adults, whose bodies are naturally more sensitive to sudden changes, this can throw off your whole morning, leaving you feeling unsteady or off for hours. Let me tell you about Walt, a retired high school coach. He's 72, active, and still full of discipline from his coaching days. Every morning, before his feet even hit the floor, he'd drink a full 16-ounce bottle of water. He thought it was the healthiest way to start his day. But he started noticing something strange: dizziness, lightheadedness, and even occasional nausea. Not every day, but often enough to concern him. When he brought it up to his doctor, they realized it wasn't what he was doing, but how he was doing it. He wasn't giving his body time to catch up. So Walter made one simple change. He started sipping his water slowly over 15 to 20 minutes. No more chugging. No more flooding his system. Just small, relaxed sips as he eased into his day. And you know what happened? The dizziness stopped. His mornings felt smoother. His energy became more stable, without any medication changes or major lifestyle shifts. Just a more mindful approach to water. So here's something to remember. Your body doesn't need a flood. It needs a gentle stream. Sit up. Take a deep breath. Sip your water slowly. Give your body time to receive the hydration instead of being overwhelmed by it. It's not a race. It's a moment of care. If you've been gulping your water just to get it over with, try slowing down tomorrow morning. See how your body responds. Sometimes the smallest changes have the biggest impact. Mistake number 3. Drinking from plastic bottles left out overnight. This next mistake might really surprise you, especially if you're someone who likes to keep a water bottle by your bed at night. And to be honest, it seems like a good idea, right? It's convenient. It's right within reach when you wake up. You're staying hydrated. But here's something most people don't realize. Drinking from plastic bottles that have been sitting out overnight, especially in a warm room, can introduce chemicals into your water that your body really doesn't want. Even if the water looks clean and safe, plastic, especially lower quality or older plastic, can leach harmful substances into the water as it sits. One of the most talked about culprits is BPA, a chemical used in many plastic containers that can seep into water over time, especially when exposed to heat. And even if your bottle says BPA-free, it may still contain other similar compounds, like BPS or phthalates, that act in nearly the same way. These chemicals are called endocrine disruptors, which means they can mimic or interfere with your natural hormones. For older adults, whose hormonal systems may already be more delicate due to age, medications, or chronic conditions, this can throw your internal balance off even more. Think about it. Maybe you're managing thyroid issues, taking blood pressure medications, or keeping an eye on your blood sugar. When your body is exposed to chemical disruptors regularly, even in tiny amounts, it adds extra stress to your liver, your kidneys, and your hormone-regulating systems. You might not feel it immediately, but over time, it can lead to fatigue, mood swings, bloating, headaches, and just that lingering sense that something's not quite right. Let me introduce you to Saley, 78 years old, and always proud of how well he stayed hydrated. Every night, he'd fill up a plastic bottle from the tap, set it on his nightstand, and drink from it the next morning. It was a routine he stuck to for years. But slowly, he began feeling more tired, even after a full night's sleep. His digestion wasn't right. He started getting more frequent headaches. His doctor couldn't find anything specific, and his labs looked fine. Eventually, a conversation with a nutritionist brought up the issue of the plastic bottle. It had been sitting by a warm lamp all night, being refilled over and over again. So Stanley made a small shift. He switched to a glass bottle and started pouring fresh water each morning instead of reusing the old one. Within a few weeks, his energy improved. The headaches faded. His digestion felt more regular. And he felt more like himself again. Now, don't get me wrong. One sip of water from a plastic bottle isn't going to hurt you. But when it becomes a daily habit, over weeks or months, it adds up. And your body, especially as it ages, has to work harder to manage those chemical burdens. So if you've got a plastic bottle on your nightstand right now, maybe it's time for a little upgrade. Choose a glass or stainless steel bottle instead. Pour in fresh water each morning. It's a simple habit, but one that can quietly support your liver, your hormones, and your overall well-being. Mistake number 4. Drinking water on a very full or very empty stomach after taking medication. Let's take a moment and think about your typical morning routine. You wake up, grab your medication, and wash it down with a tall glass of water. Sounds like the responsible thing to do, right? After all, your doctor likely told you to take your pills with water. But here's the part that often gets left out. How much water you drink, when you drink it, and what's already in your stomach can have a major impact on how your body reacts, especially first thing in the morning. These little details might seem harmless, but they can be the hidden reason behind morning discomfort, poor absorption of your medication, or that unexplained queasy feeling you just can't shake. When you drink a large amount of water too quickly on a completely empty stomach, especially right after taking medication, you may unknowingly throw your digestive system off balance. Here's what can go wrong. That big rush of water can dilute your stomach acid, which is essential for properly breaking down both food and medication. The sudden volume and temperature of water can irritate your stomach lining, which is more sensitive after several hours of fasting overnight. You may end up feeling nauseous, bloated, or even experience acid reflux, all because your stomach wasn't ready for that flood. Now flip the situation. Let's say you've just finished a hearty breakfast, and you immediately follow it up by taking your medication with a full glass of water. That may seem harmless, but it can cause a different set of issues, especially if your medication is supposed to be taken on an empty stomach. When your stomach is already full, the medication may not absorb properly or quickly enough, reducing its effectiveness. Some drugs are particularly sensitive to this and may bind with food, which means they won't work as intended. In the morning, your digestive system is still transitioning from its overnight resting state. It's adjusting hormone levels, increasing stomach acid production, and getting ready to process the day's first intake of food and fluids. Flooding it too quickly with a combination of medication and lots of water, before it's had time to stabilize, can send the system into disarray. Your body might not be saying, "I'm sick." It might be saying, "You rushed me." Let me introduce you to Moral, an 80-year-old woman who had been faithfully taking her thyroid medication every morning for years. Her routine never changed. Wake up, take her pill, drink a large glass of water, then wait a little before breakfast. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, she began feeling queasy most mornings. She hadn't changed her medication, her blood tests looked fine, and her diet hadn't shifted. The discomfort was a mystery. That's when her doctor asked about her water habits. It turned out Margaret was drinking too much water too quickly on an empty stomach, right after taking her pill. Her stomach wasn't handling the sudden load well. So she made a small but powerful change. Instead of a large glass of water, she took just a few small sips, just enough to swallow her pill comfortably. Then, she waited about 45 minutes before having a light breakfast. That's it. That tiny tweak made a big difference. Her nausea disappeared. She felt more grounded in the morning. And surprisingly, her next round of blood work showed her thyroid levels had improved, meaning her medication was being absorbed more efficiently. Sometimes, it's not about changing everything. It's about doing what you're already doing, but more gently, more mindfully. So tomorrow morning, when you reach for your medication and your water, take a pause. Take just enough, and give your body the grace of time. That small act of care could lead to a calmer stomach, a clearer mind, and a much better start to your day. Mistake number 5, skipping breakfast and replacing it with only water. Let's be honest, there's a lot of health advice floating around these days. You've probably heard trendy suggestions like, skip breakfast. Just drink water in the morning. Let your body stay in a fasting state. And yes, that might work for younger people or those on structured health or weight loss programs under supervision. But as we age, our nutritional needs shift, And what works for a 30-year-old may actually drain energy from someone in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. Fatigue, irritability, shakiness, mental fog, and weakened concentration or memory lapses. And here's the sneaky part. Many people assume these symptoms are due to aging, poor sleep, or stress. But in many cases, the real culprit is simply underfueling your body in the morning. Drinking coffee without any food makes things even more complicated. Coffee stimulates your central nervous system and increases the production of stomach acid. Without food to buffer it, that acid can irritate your stomach lining, and over time, this may contribute to heartburn or digestive discomfort. You're also revving up your nervous system on an empty tank, which can lead to crashes, mood dips, or a jittery feeling mid-morning. Take Lisa, for example, a sharp, independent 69-year-old woman. She wanted to streamline her mornings and lose a bit of weight, so she tried intermittent fasting. She cut out breakfast and started drinking only water until noon. At first, it seemed to work. She dropped a few pounds and thought she was on the right track. But within a few weeks, she began to notice subtle but concerning changes. Her mood felt heavier. She struggled to recall words and details. She repeated herself in conversations without realizing it. She started feeling sluggish and not quite herself. Her daughter noticed something was off and gently encouraged her to see the doctor. After some tests ruled out any serious conditions, they looked at her daily habits. And the answer became clear. Lisa wasn't fueling her brain. She had unintentionally starved her body of what it needed most in the morning: nutrients. So she made one small but powerful change. Instead of skipping breakfast entirely, she started her day with one boiled egg, a slice of whole grain toast, a few slices of fruit. Nothing heavy, nothing fancy, but enough to give her body what it needed. Within days, the fog lifted. Her memory sharpened, her mood improved, and her energy returned. That tiny shift brought her back to life, brighter, steadier, and more herself than she'd felt in months. If you've been starting your day with only water, consider gently reintroducing a light, balanced breakfast. Here are a few simple options that nourish without weighing you down. Protein like an egg, Greek yogurt, or a few nuts. Complex carbohydrates such as oatmeal, whole grain toast, or fruit. Healthy fats like a slice of avocado or a teaspoon of nut butter. And yes, to rehydrate. But don't let that be the only thing you give your body. Add nourishment soon after, and notice how much better you feel by mid-morning. As we age, energy and clarity don't always require massive changes or complicated diets. Sometimes it's the small habits, like a simple breakfast, that hold the key to how we feel each day. Skipping breakfast might sound like a modern shortcut, but for older adults, it can slowly erode your strength, your memory, and your peace of mind. So tomorrow morning, give your body a gift: hydration plus nourishment. That combination can make all the difference. Please don't mistake less for better, especially when it comes to how you nourish yourself in the morning. Yes, water is essential. It's one of the simplest, most powerful habits you can keep. But water alone isn't enough to carry you through the day. Not anymore. As we get older, our bodies become more discerning, more sensitive, and more in need of thoughtful care. Think of your morning routine like lighting a fire. Water is the spark that wakes you up, but you still need fuel to keep that fire burning. Something to steady your blood sugar, support your muscles, and keep your mind sharp. Even something small, a hard-boiled egg, a handful of almonds, a spoonful of oatmeal, or a homemade smoothie, can make a world of difference. It's not about eating more, it's about eating smarter. And that little bit of nourishment might be all your body is asking for to feel energized, clear-headed, and emotionally balanced all day long. You've been drinking water your whole life. But lately, maybe it feels different. Maybe it sits heavier in your stomach, or you feel a little queasy after. That's not because water changed, it's because you have. As we age, our digestive systems slow down, our stomach linings get more delicate, and our hormone levels shift. What was once simple now asks for more care. That's why it's so important to listen closely to what your body is telling you, because it is speaking to you gently every single day. Today's conversation isn't about scaring you. It's not about strict rules or following a trendy routine. It's about awareness, learning to notice the subtle things that affect how you feel. That foggy head after skipping breakfast? Maybe it's not just age. It could be low blood sugar. That bloated feeling after taking your morning meds? It might be the temperature or timing of the water. That anxious, rushed energy? Perhaps your body just needed food before coffee. Maybe tomorrow, instead of reaching for ice-cold water, you try something closer to room temperature. Maybe you sip slowly instead of drinking it all at once. Maybe you trade that worn plastic bottle for a fresh, clean glass one. Or maybe, just maybe, you decide to pair your water with something light and nourishing, something to gently wake your body and mind together. That tiny shift could be the start of a whole new rhythm, one that feels more grounded, more peaceful, and more you. If anything in this video made you pause, if something clicked or reminded you of your own morning routine, that's a beautiful sign. It means you're still growing, still learning, still investing in your health, in your comfort, and in your clarity. And that mindset, that quiet commitment to self-care, it's incredibly powerful. So thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope you'll try one of these gentle changes tomorrow morning and just see how your body responds. It always knows. You just have to give it a chance to speak. If this helped you in any way, feel free to share it with someone close to you, a friend, a sibling, a neighbor. You never know who else might be silently struggling with the same things. And if you'd like to be part of more honest, thoughtful health conversations like this, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel. We're in this together. And every step toward feeling better, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. Because your well-being matters. Your peace matters. You matter. Take care of yourself. I'll see you again soon.